Black folks tired.
I bet.
People tired.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's falling for it.
I hope not. We know the men ain't. Okay.
For today's show, I have to get started with some politics because I've had something on my mind that I've been holding in for the last few days or so, and I'm not going to hold it in anymore. It's specifically the presidential election, which is just over 2 weeks away. National polls show former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris essentially in a dead heat heading towards November 5th. Both campaigns were on the trail over the last week or so, including this weekend, including some of their surrogates as well. And for Kamala Harris, that would include former President Barack Obama, who hit the trail stumping for Democrats. The former president made headlines this weekend, actually a few days before this weekend as well, speaking to a forum of black men in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Obama spoke directly to all men who may be considering not voting or voting for Donald Trump in this election cycle.
2024.
Before I go any further, I want you to hear exactly what this man had to say.
I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. You're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that.
Bruh, quit it.
And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you?
Please.
Panned Obama.
Because you think that's a sign of strength? Because that's what being a man is? Putting women down?
What?
That's not acceptable.
I didn't hear this whole thing.
Respectfully, President Obama, what you said is not acceptable.
No.
I'm going to say it again. Respectfully, what you said is not acceptable.
At all.
Not to me, not to a host of black men out there who's not even thinking about voting for Donald Trump. What you said is unacceptable. I'll tell you why in a minute. But before I do that, I want to go to Khalil Thompson, co-founder and executive director of Win with Black Men, who responded to criticism of Obama's comments. Take a look at what he had to say here. Quote, I believe President Obama is speaking to a tangible, visceral understanding of what it means for all men to relate to women in America. Calling out misogyny is not wrong, end quote. To co-founder Khalil Thompson, you're wrong too.
Right.
And what you said is unacceptable. You see, what you're missing is that you're basically accusing black men who come up with a reason to not support Kamala Harris as engaging in misogyny.
Right.
Whatever happened to disagreeing without being disagreeable, President Obama? What happened to that? All of a sudden, we want to challenge men and our love and our affection as black men for black women. We want to bring that into question because we've got an election coming up and people may have the temerity to think differently than you.
Right.
It's because she's a woman
That ain't it.
that she's in danger of losing this election? Didn't Hillary Clinton win the popular vote in 2016?
Right.
Didn't she get over 2.8 million more votes than Donald Trump in the popular vote for the 2016 election? Last time I checked, she's a woman. Are we there sitting here and implying that black men would be more apropos to support a white woman than a black woman? Is that what we're saying? Is that what we're saying? It's a rhetorical question because it makes no sense to me. Before I go even further, let's hear more from Mr. Khalil Thompson himself. Quote, we're not a monolith. However, we are just like every other American in this country who wants a good paying job that we can provide for our children and participate in their lives and the lives of our partner, that we can get them home safely, afford to go to the grocery store, save a little for retirement, and have a vacation. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that explanation, Khalil Thompson. Why didn't you say that from the jump?
Listen to this. This was summed up a few things that's going on out here, man. Shout out.
As Barack Obama said, Kamala Harris has an issue with the brothers.
You texted me right around the Democratic convention, and you said, I am talking to people, and Kamala Harris has a problem with black men.
Yeah, and I told the campaign I did not hear from them. I mean, who am I for them to get back to me? But there's a problem. I went up to people just doing man on the street. I said, who are you going to vote for? Black men. And time after time after time, they said, I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Kamala was supposed to be the pantsuit messiah, but she's really more of an actress.
When he was asked about what he was going to do, he says he's got concepts of a plan for how he'd replace it.
He has no plan to replace it. You guys watched the debate. Right. He has, quote, concepts of a plan. Concepts.
Kamala's imitating Barack, but there's one problem. She's more like Hillary, and the streets know.
Right.
There's nothing about the poll numbers that we're seeing right now that should make anybody feel like she got this in.
Remember those poll numbers with Hillary?
Remember those poll numbers with Hillary? And I keep telling people this campaign feels more Hillary-ish than it does
I remember that.
Obama 08-ish.
When Hillary was in trouble with the black vote, Democrats closed their eyes and prayed for the God to save her. That's Charlemagne the God. But then Hillary pulled out the hot sauce.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you getting information right now? Hot sauce. Hot sauce in my bag, Swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Stop
Cappuccino.
playing.
Cappuccino.
Cap.
You're in the black people league.
Cap.
Okay. Is it working?
Cap.
Are you not?
No, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce.
Then Democrats
Couldn't
tried
even get it
again.
out.
They sent Biden
Couldn't even
in
get
and he
it
told
out.
them, you ain't black.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Oh. So Barack sent Harris to see
I
the
will
God,
always go down to history.
hoping the
You
third
will.
time's a charm. Harris spent all day prepping for Charlemagne, cleared her whole schedule for one interview at 5 o'clock. The first question Charlemagne asked her, do you ever say anything new?
But what do you say to people who say you stay on the talking points?
I would say you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, here's the thing. I love having conversations, which is why I'm so happy to be with you this afternoon. And the reality is that there are certain things that must be repeated to ensure that I have everyone know what I stand for and the issues that I think are at stake in this election.
Mm-hmm.
And so it requires repetition. You know, some people say that until someone has heard the same thing at least 3 times, it just doesn't stay with you. So repetition is important.
That's the
Kamala
person's
thinks voters
name.
are too ignorant to get her message through their thick skulls.
It is a name.
She has to repeat it like a hypnotist. And it's not even working because no one ever knows what she's talking about. This was kind of a virtual town hall with voters who called in, and they wanted to know, where's my money you promised?
My question to you is, what's your stance on reparations?
I do have clear eyes about the disparities that exist and the context in which they exist, meaning history, to your point. So my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. As it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed. Look, I grew up in the middle class.
Lord.
My mother
There you go.
worked hard, raised me and my sister.
There we
and
go.
By the time I was in high school, she was able to afford our first home.
Child.
I know what it means for an individual and a family to have home ownership.
Translation, you're not getting reparations.
Pretty much.
I'm gonna give you
Point
reparations,
blank.
but they told me I can't
Oh my
say that.
God.
What I can say is that I grew up in the middle class.
Right.
Black
Oh my
men have been
gosh.
asking, How are you going to make my life better? Because my life was better under Trump.
Yep.
So Kamala, after 4 years of doing nothing, just came out with a plan for black men. Legalize weed and $20,000 welfare checks.
Well, I saw that.
Crazy. I saw that
Kamala
today.
wants to win the black vote with free money and drugs.
For real.
But protecting black jobs is offensive, okay? Even black voters are a little suspicious.
Trying to make sure y'all Negroes get high and can go to the check cashing place.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. She went all the way around that question and still did not answer it.
You know who I see, Joy?
Oh,
When he said
my
that, I see that
goodness.
clip we had of Scrappy saying right now, saying, I'm gonna vote 'cause you black. That's who I
He
see
is
right now.
stuck in a time warp.
That's who I see when I see her like this, and what they said about giving you money and
Come over towards me some.
Anyway.
Yeah. Because your body out. Yeah.
I read that there is a new opportunity agenda, a plan for black men, which includes a proposal of forgivable loans up to $20,000 for 1 million black entrepreneurs. What would you say to the people that would consider the timing of this proposal as political timing?
I've been in this race about 70 days. You can look at all my work before those 70 days to know that what I'm talking about right now is not new and is not for the sake of winning this election. This is about a long-standing commitment, including the work that I've done as vice president and before when I was senator and before that.
Kamala's been in power for 4 years. Before that, she was a senator. Never proposed this before. And 3 weeks before the election, after struggling with the black vote, here's a check for 20 grand and a blunt. Did Kamala even come up with this pitch? Or did her white handlers sit around thinking, black people love handouts and getting high.
Right.
Let's give this a shot.
and how about some fried chicken?
Democrats have been in charge of the White House
Come on.
for 12 of the last 16 years. And black Americans feel like they haven't done anything. One voter told the New York Times that they elected the first black president and we're still in the same place. Blacks are bailing on Democrats
Pretty
because of
much.
their policies.
Pretty much.
But Democrats are trying to reel them in with identity politics.
Exactly.
As it goes to black men, yes, we're out making the case that we have historically low unemployment, but we need to do more. Our message is solid. It's the right one for folks, and I think at the end of the day, they come back home.
Walz is guaranteeing it. They'll come back home. They always come back home.
To the plantation.
Who talks
Right.
like that about people?
Exactly.
They don't even try to earn the black vote. They scold, bribe, try to smoke them up.
Exactly.
And if you don't come
That's
back home
disgusting.
quick, they're going to send Don Lemon to chase you down.
Tough conversations are just that, tough. And people don't want to hear them. Sometimes people need to be chastised, right?
Please.
You don't want your message to bounce off. I don't think that all the blame should be put on black men. But the black men that I have spoken to, and I continue to speak to on a daily basis, come up with these excuses and these reasons that are just inaccurate. They're just plain wrong. There are three excuses. One is misinformation, right? Two is the media ecosystem, what media you're consuming. And three is that perhaps you are a misogynist.
Barack gave the
Nobody
media the
listening to you
green
down
light to rough up black voters, and Don Lemon is coming in hot with an open hand. He has appointed himself the black vote enforcer. You can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Which
And
is?
Lemon prefers
What you
the
gonna do?
hard way.
What you gonna? Ugh.
MSNBC's bringing out the heavy guns. Joy Reid is going to snatch you up by the throat.
So
She's
tired of
annoying.
her
And if
light
you don't vote
bulb head
Democrat,
having.
you ain't black, you're sexist,
She
and
irks
you're a
me.
I'm
fascist.
so tired of her.
She really is.
Have you noticed
Listen to
how
this.
sharply the polls have shifted in Trump's favor over the last couple weeks? With these claims that Trump is surging with black and Latino voters and leading in every single swing state, according to secret internal polls, despite all the Hitler talk. Yes, this race will be far too close.
What Hitler taboo?
Because unfortunately, we do have a fascist groundswell in parts of this.
Correction. It won't be far too close. It's going to be a freaking landslide. We thought it was going to be far too close by them putting in Kamala, but it's going to be way better than it was predicted when she first started getting in there. So anyway, I don't believe it's going to be no far too close. I feel like he's going to take it.
This country, mainly among white men, let's be clear, but in small pockets among black and brown men, too. This happens to be a global phenomenon as women become more economically independent and seek positions of power.
Oh, my God. All right. So, fascist, sexist, race traitor. What else are we missing here?
This election is going to be no different. They've already started with the misinformation and the lies. We know that there is foreign interference, and I have to say to everybody listening to this, don't let them take your voice. Because I was part of the Senate Intelligence Committee when we investigated Russia's interference in the 2016 election. Black folks were targeted with misinformation.
Black men are sexist, fascist, Russian puppets. Got it. But white dudes for Harris, they're sexy. Don't you want to be sexy? And when all else fails, you go to Old Faithful. Scare them back home.
They can't stop blacks from voting anymore the way they did in the 60s with the same kind of success. What they want to do is they want to win the election night until the inauguration. And if they can go in and they can violently disrupt these counting centers, how will states be able to certify elections? You burn down a counting center in Arizona. How does the governor certify those elections? What world are we in then?
Democrats know their party can't function when people or groups think or act independently. The machine is designed to enforce blind loyalty and unquestioning faith. Persuasion, not part of the equation. Your edict is you're either with us 100% or we're going to make your life miserable. You swallow every hoax, follow every order, lie for us, and nod your head yes. Anything besides that, you have to go see Don and Joy in the dungeon. The Wall Street Journal frames Kamala's pitch to black voters as you're either a bad person or you're just stupid. Quote, are you an immoral, bigoted person? One of those notoriously misogynistic black men who can't stand uppity women, or a white racist who hates foreigners? Or are you a dupe easily misled by misinformation? When you don't like liberal ideas because you've seen the results, Democrats don't try to get better results.
No.
They just hate you for pointing out they're failing. See, loyal Democrats are supposed to pretend not to notice.
Right.
Everyone else gets ridiculed into submission. In 2008, Obama called rural America bitter clingers. In 2016, Hillary called them a basket of deplorables. In 2020, Biden called you a threat to democracy. And now Democrats are calling their own voters, who they think they own, sexist Russian plants. But here's the catch. The media is amplifying the Democrats attacking their own side. Democrats expect to be criticized by Republicans, but not by other Democrats. It stings, especially after the Democrats have done very little for black America in the last decade, adding insult to injury. When the machine loses control, it can't operate. Everything needs to be clicking on all cylinders. It's not. Biden should have lost the election honorably, and the machine would have been able to regroup for the next cycle. But Democrats can't accept not being in power. And therefore, you had the coup and the Kamala coronation. Both acts of desperation have exposed the party's dark underbelly for the whole country to see, and is turning off more Democrats more than any Biden loss would have. Click here to subscribe.
Whack. Please. I mean, is that all they got?
That's all they got.
Is that all they got?
I'm so tired of Joy Reid. She is one person that will find whatever she can put together to say why black people are being done a certain way. She better have a black husband. She better have the blackest husband and the blackest kids. You hear me?
What I can't stand is when people just flat out lie to try to get you to believe their stance. All these lies and all these facts, that all the fact checks that have happened to debunk all this tomfoolery. Don't you see people aren't falling for it? Bottom line, you have nothing. You have nothing.
Zero.
Oh my gosh.
It's
You
0.
have nothing. She can't answer a question forthright without going all the way around in the world. I mean, let's not even go down that rant. Ridiculous. Well, I'm glad that black men are awake to see what's really going on. And you're not going to push me. You're not going to criticize me or ridicule me or make me feel that I'm inferior because I'm not going for y'all's tricks.
No, not this time. It's not this time. There's too many black people on board, and it's too big to rig.
Too big.
If you can't do anything slight on this one because you got so many black people that have stepped forward that that have jumped over on this train on this side. So if anything partially gets rigged, you're gonna have a big old problem in your hand because too many people are for Trump now.
Yeah, I mean, but the
and people are not dumb. They're not dumb. People don't want to be. It's a couple people that are stupid, but
the
not
law
everybody's dumb.
that Gavin Newsom just passed, Trump mentioned today on the Bloomberg interview, is that Gavin Newsom passed a law. Is it your chair?
What?
Squeaky.
Oh, it's the chair. Yeah. It is loud.
Oh, excuse me.
Was that a burp?
It was.
God, that was nasty.
Squeaky chair.
Come on. That's okay. You are the prototype.
Y'all see that zit in the front of his head?
She talking about this one right here.
In the front of his head?
Boy, I always leave a spot for jewelry right there.
Whatever. Okay, anyway. But Trump said that he has a law now that it's against the law to ask a person for their ID when they vote. Where do they do that at?
That's crazy.
Where? How in the world is this even ethical or constitutional? This is why I can't. And they still gonna lose. How about that? You gonna try to cheat and they still gonna lose.
I still feel like something weird is gonna happen. We got 2 weeks to the election.
Cheaters never win.
What you think is gonna happen? We got 2 weeks to the election.
And winners never cheat.
We got 2 weeks. I think something weird gonna happen.
I don't. I'm just ready to go.
What if
you can't wear your Trump shirt to the polls, right? Nothing that's gonna persuade, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What if
Oh,
Hillary
he is the king of the what ifs, y'all.
Hillary or
what?
Gavin try to shoot in last minute for somehow like
they
get the anger because they want to be.
Ain't nobody gonna vote for them folk. They don't want them. They already have had them, and she didn't win then.
I feel like in 2 weeks something weird gonna happen.
Please,
it's gonna be.
If there was gonna be a woman president, to me, she would have been the one they elected.
Yeah,
but they didn't even vote her. So what does that say? They don't want her. They had enough of the Clinton administration. Please.
I got hot sauce in my bag. I could put on some ground fresh peppers.
Yeah, I can. I've been eating a lot of peppers. She couldn't even get her lie out. I've been eating a lot of peppers. You've been eating a lot of peppers. So you telling me
you putting hot sauce on green peppers?
You've been eating a lot of peppers, and you've been using hot sauce on what?
And all black people don't like hot sauce. I don't like hot butt. So I
like Tabasco.
So I don't eat that hot
but
stuff.
Only on certain things. It's really on fish is what I eat Tabasco on, really, and in chili. But that's it. But I mean, it's just oh my God, it's so.
I'm telling you,
so plantation
if it's anywhere
mindset,
close
I can't even.
to the polls, just being it's a hard. This is a hard one that's neck and neck. Something ain't right. This is not a neck and neck situation.
We already know that, and that people are looking at what's going on through a microscope. Don't think that people are not paying. Man, this has been the race of the entire United States of America. This is the race.
Planet Earth.
I mean, this is the race.
I think they voting on Mars for Trump.
People who weren't even involved in politics are involved in politics now.
Look at us.
Yeah, but if you're not, you should be, at least to the point to where you're very clear as to what they are saying. What the history and the policy is of the person you're going to vote for.
We're going to go and end this out, man. You look at the things are wrapping up. We're getting to the end. 2 more weeks, man. 2024.
That
be
chair,
more.
you cannot sit in that squeaky chair no more. Please. Oh, my gosh. When did it start squeaking like that? Stop it.
All right. 2024, be more.
Talk less.
We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.